Shalom, call all you how about Shin Shah. Shalom to the left. Just want to go in on a few precepts about what's been going on lately. I've been watching the news. I've been seeing a lot of war stuff popping up. And simultaneously, they've been putting a lot of distractions out in the media to distract people from what's really happening. Now, just yesterday, it was talking about passengers injured as U.S. fighter jet comes close to Iranian planes. So let's believe, hey man, they just itching for that war, man. And ultimately, how about Shem Shah putting the spirit on them to do what they're doing anyway, when it all boils down to it. Even if they try to have peace talks, reach some type of deal or whatever. I was looking at this video right here also, says China and Iran reach historic deal. U.S. freaks out. And the reason why the U.S. freaking out, because the same tactic and the same rhetoric they use to go invade these nations, to destroy regimes and set up a democracy, is being used against them right now. So let me read this in the book of Jeremiah, and I'm going to let a few of these videos play. It says, in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1, I just read on down. It says, thus says the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. And another thing that's classified as a destruction from nuclear weapon is destroying wind. It says, and I will send to Babylon famines that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble it shall be against her round about. And that's what you see. These nations join together: China, Iran, Russia, Libya, Syria, Turkey, just to name a few. It says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up, and his Burgandon, I might be pronouncing that wrong, Burgandon, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Verse 4 says, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in the streets. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Though the land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Because right now the Amalekites, they don't completely polluted that land to the max, and still doing it to this day. And our people, they feel forsaken because the Most High put us in these conditions for a lesson, so we can learn what not to do, and ultimately end up learning what we should be doing. And we ain't been forsaken. Even in the lower state, our people still get blessings and different little stuff come upon them that happen in a good manner. So we ain't been forsaken. And in verse 6 it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man's soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, but this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. And someone said Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of the wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that's what you see going on right now. The nations mad. China and Iran reaching a historic deal. They doing a deal to go against the U.S. Venezuela in the midst of this stuff. Now, I'm going to read on some more. It said, we will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for a judgment reaching to heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh our power. Make bright the arrows, I'm talking about them nukes, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. And hey, I'm going to read some more to finish this off. I'm going to let this video play. With them bright arrows, it's them bright arrows. Make sure I got my volume right, hold on.
This is an urgent appeal from Save the Children. With funding for critical children's programs at risk globally due to the coronavirus, COVID-19, your support is needed now more than ever to help children.
A group of 40...
And see, and Esau a fucking devil. They don't care about none of that for real. They advertise that, Save the Children, donate money. Hey, it's been brought out numerous times in the media. That's why I went on to skip it. It's been brought out numerous times in the media and different articles that people that donate that money to these different foundations and stuff. Most of them kids, they don't even see that fucking money. And if they do, they get a small portion. Meanwhile, the people that's behind the scenes orchestrating that shit, they pocketing hella money and living hella lavish. But I'm gonna let this play. I ain't gonna, drift off too much on that topic. I just want to speak on that.
Scientists has warned the U.S. against a resumption of nuclear testing, citing the risk of an all-out war. Back in May, reports emerged suggesting that the Trump administration discussed whether to conduct the first nuclear test since a decades-long moratorium. Earlier, my colleague Saskia Taylor spoke to Nobel laureate Sir Richard J. Roberts. He believes a renewal of nuclear tests could set off an alarming chain reaction.
Well, the point about the testing is that if you're not planning for war, why do it? And so that means you're planning for war.
And see, look, they might not be planning for war, but the Most High planning for it, though. And He gonna put the Spirit on. Like, look, here you go right here. It says right here in the book of Jeremiah. In chapter 51, verse 11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh had raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his devices against Babylon. This device is against Babylon. That's what's going to be used.
The U.S. were to resume
Takes place out in 1 hour.
testing. Do you think that would provoke other countries such as India, Pakistan, to also resume their tests as well?
Exactly. That's what it.
And Esau noticed they wouldn't be building no bunkers and trying to go up into space and go to a whole other planet and shit, but they ain't know what was coming because they know what's coming.
Exactly what I would expect. So other nations are going to be concerned if the U.S. is doing it. Why shouldn't we? Why are they doing it? What is their goal? I think this whole thing is crazy. The world does not need nuclear weapons. We have plenty of problems. We don't need the problems that nuclear weapons can bring.
The U.S. has already ditched a number of nuclear agreements as of late. In 2019, it pulled out of a Cold War pact with Russia, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Earlier, Washington walked out of the Iran nuclear deal. Now all eyes are on an arms reduction treaty that's set to expire at the beginning of 2021. Russia has been pushing for its extension, but the U.S. is still deliberating. Sir Richard J. Roberts again says there are risks of a nuclear war with another superpower as well.
I think the possibility of a new Cold War with China as the scapegoat this time instead of Russia is growing every day. But I also think that at times like this, when we see the potential for tragedy that can come from a pandemic, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, should make rational people think about what is important in life. Is it important to prepare for a nuclear war, or is it important to prepare and make sure that the population is healthy?
Do you support total disarmament?
Yeah, see, the powers that be, the ones that rule the banks, the oil fields,